So we just had the NAACP Image Awards, which was on a Saturday. I hate they have it on Saturday. It should be like on a Sunday or during the week. But Keke Palmer won Entertainer of the Year, and she congratulations to her. She beat out Cynthia Erivo, Kendrick Lamar, Kevin Hart, and Shannon Sharpe. Listen, I like Keke. I always said that Keke's future should be daytime TV. If Sherry Shepherd and Jennifer Hudson and Kelly Clarkson and Drew Barrymore can be the queens of daytime talk, Keke Palmer is a natural. She would definitely be Oprah Winfrey 2.0 if she ever decides to do that type of thing. So think about it, Keke. But here's the thing. Keke wasn't Entertainer of the Year. Because when I look at this list, Kendrick Lamar is staring me in the face. There is nothing that Keke Palmer did in 2024 that even comes close to what Kendrick Lamar did with Not Like Us. And Kendrick Lamar wasn't even trying to make that song last year. Just the whole beef with Drake started. And Kendrick did Meet the Grams. He did Not Like Us. He did a few other songs. And Not Like Us was a monster. Such a monster, they ended up being Record and Song of the Year at the Grammys. It was an international hit. As soon as you say Not Like Us, people know what you're talking about. Most people know what you're talking about. It was a cultural movement. And there's nothing that Keke Palmer has done this past year that comes close to what Kendrick has done. And I think, and secretly, Kendrick could probably say that if he attended. I'm sure he loves Keke, but man, come on. So when I saw people and they say, oh my God, congratulations, she deserved it. It's like, did she? Because I don't think she did. Okay, so I'm going to talk about her and the other nominees in a second. Let's talk about the people who weren't nominated for Entertainer of the Year. So oddly enough, Tyler Perry never won Entertainer of the Year. And I'm not a big fan of Tyler Perry. However, the fact that he's never won and he's put out so much content that Black folks seem to like, you would think that he would have won it at least one year. So if he was nominated for Entertainer of the Year, especially with the 6 888, he definitely should have won. Beyonce, she's already won our Entertainer of the Year twice already. So they probably didn't want to nominate her again. But for Cowboy Carter, I think she should have been nominated. Cowboy Carter is a really good album. I've heard people say, oh, I don't like that album. Yeah, okay. It's not your traditional R&B album. And she didn't have to make that album. But she's from Houston, Texas, man. She's from Houston, Texas. And she made a straight up country album. And I think more artists should take chances like that. Not keep on making the same thing over and over. I think that's the problem these days. I think people just like the same stuff, same sound over and over and over again. At least Beyonce tried something different. And Cowboy Carter actually was a solid album, but she wasn't nominated. SZA could have been nominated. SZA put out the deluxe version of SOS. She had one of those days with Keke Palmer. She could have won. But the person that wasn't nominated, who outside of Kendrick Lamar, probably was the Entertainer of the Year, was Katt Williams. Katt Williams, after that Club Shay Shay interview, completely blew up. The whole industry was shook after that Katt Williams interview. And by the end of the year, he was in the top 5 of the highest grossing comedians of 2024. Not just Black comedians, just comedians overall. Nate Bargatze was number 1, Matt Rife was number 2, and it was Katt Williams. And he's had a successful tour where he has Mark Curry and Monique. Of anybody, Black entertainer that caused a stir outside of Kendrick Lamar, and maybe even greater than Kendrick, was Katt Williams. I told y'all I was Entertainer of the Year. I love Keke Palmer, but let's be real. Can we be real? I was Entertainer of the Year. I'm just saying. Shout out to Katt. Should have been nominated, but he was not. So let's look at the people who were nominated. Cynthia Erivo. So Cynthia Erivo was in Wicked. Wicked made almost $800 million. It made like $770 million on a $145 million budget. That is massive. In contrast, Keke made One of Those Days with SZA, and it made $45 million off a $14 million budget. Now, both films made money. They did. And it's great that One of Those Days made $45 million so far off of $14 million. But come on, man. That Wicked, man, is huge. And you got people running around saying, ah! Just badly. But she wasn't going to win. Like Cynthia Erivo, that's the only thing she had out this year that people paid attention to. So she wasn't going to win. But I'm just showing the difference when people was justifying why Keke won. Okay, fine. I already talked about Kendrick. Like, there's no need to talk about that again. Kevin Hart is surprising. Like, that should have been Katt Williams or somebody else. Kevin Hart is always busy like he did. He was in the Olympics this year. I think he had that film with Sam Jackson on Peacock. Kevin still got Laugh Out Loud. He still got his YouTube stuff. Like, Kevin is still working. He's just not as bombastic as he was maybe 10 years ago. But, I mean, he's still doing stuff. But I don't think Kevin did anything out of the ordinary when people thought he should be Entertainer of the Year. And I think he won back in 2014. Which brings us to Shannon Sharpe. Now, people are saying, like, why is Shannon Sharpe nominated? That's true. It's kind of interesting that Shannon's in there. But do we not forget, like, how big that Katt Williams interview was? Okay, so Keke has her podcast on YouTube, and Shannon Sharpe has Club Shay Shay, and he has Nightcap with Ocho Cinco. So he has two podcasts. So we have Shannon and we have Keke. We have two podcasts here. Keke's podcast is good. It's entertaining. She's fun. This is where the Oprah Winfrey thing comes from the beginning. She's had her top three interviews, views-wise. She interviewed two people from Love Island, I think, and those views were 700,000. A couple of months ago, she interviewed Lizzo, and that was over 600,000. And she just interviewed Usher, and those views were over 500,000. I would kill for those numbers. Those are fantastic numbers. I would kill for those numbers. And on an average, most of her videos average between like 50,000 to sometimes 300,000. So like around 100 some odd thousand is her average. All right. So that's great. Let's look at Shannon. That interview, because he started Club Shay Shay back around the pandemic. That interview of Katt Williams is up to 88 million views. 88 million views. And then like a month after that, he interviewed Monique. That is around 18 million views. And a couple months ago, he interviewed Marlon Wayans, and that's 9 million views. That 88 million views, that's even more than Joe Rogan's. That's like upper echelon, top podcaster overall. Not just black podcaster, overall. Like, that's crazy numbers. And why I say Keke's number one was 700,000 to 88 million? That's crazy. So when people say, oh, no, she got a podcast. Yeah, Shannon got a podcast too. And look what he's done. Those numbers are just crazy. So I understand why people might be confused, but if you look at the numbers, it's crazy. And then when you look at overall, Shannon's long form interviews, because he cuts them up in shorts, the 3-hour interviews average about 2 million views, around 2 million, a little bit more, a little bit less. And what I say was Keke's around 100,000. So I understand why people might be confused why Shannon's there, but man, can you look at his views? It's crazy. But Shannon probably wasn't going to win. But still, congratulations for him being nominated. Shout out to Shannon. I think this comes off from the Usher Raymond stuff from a couple of years ago. So last year, Usher was the Entertainer of the Year at the Image Awards. And that year, he still had his Vegas residency, and then he had the Super Bowl, and he won a world tour. He released an album that people liked. But a lot of it, some of it came from the Keke Palmer stuff. Like, the residency was already successful, but then the whole Keke thing happened with her ex-boyfriend and all that stuff. And it just kind of brought a bigger light to Usher. But Usher had a big year. So I understood why he was Entertainer of the Year. But I think some people who voted for Usher wanted Keke to be part of that too. And I think that's why they nominated Keke. Because there's nothing you can tell me that she did was bigger than what Kendrick Lamar did. Yeah, I mean, she had One of Those Days that came out later. That just came out like a month ago or something like that. And she has Password with Jimmy Fallon. But come on. Are you guys really telling me that Password and One of Those Days are bigger than Not Like Us? Can you honestly tell me it was bigger than that one song? Or she had a bigger year than Katt Williams? Can you guys actually tell me this? Now, if you're saying that, you're not going by the facts. You're just going by that you like Keke, and that's fine. That's fine. And I said, well, she did Achille and the Bee, and she's been around forever. No, this is what happened in the past year. Achille and the Bee was like 2006. This is now about Achille and the Bee. This is about 2024. And listen, God bless her. And even she said she didn't think she was going to win. She looked at that list. She knew better, but no, I think they're awarding her because the Usher thing. Usher won it, and then they're giving it to Keke. And that's not right. And the Keke thing was all about her relationship with her ex-boyfriend. It wasn't about what she was doing as an actress or as an entertainer. So what do you guys think? Who do you think was the Entertainer of the Year from that list? And what about the list of people that I gave you that wasn't nominated? Did Keke deserve it? Or should have gone to somebody else? And could have gone to me, Katt Williams.